Folks, I stayed out of the Pokemon hysteria as long as I possibly could. That's right, I sat out the last few Pokemon card set releases. I didn't pipe up about all the brawls, the scuffles, the punch-outs, the rapscallions fighting, biting, clawing at each other at Walmarts and Targets and Costco's and Best Buys and farmers markets and yard sales. But I can stay silent no more, because Pokemon has now introduced a collaboration with something that truly matters to your old pal Doug, Hershey's Chocolate. That's right, folks. It's Doug from It's All Doug in Games. You heard me right. Pokemon and Hershey have announced an official collaboration that is now in force. They're going to create packages of Hershey Kisses with the original 151 Pokemons on the bottom of each of the foil wrappers. They're also going to have a line of collectible traditional Hershey's chocolate bars. Now, as you can imagine, there's already some hysteria in the Pokemon world surrounding this, and people saying, wait a minute, people like Hershey's Chocolate and Pokemon as a financial instrument. Get to the stores, everyone. So from what I can see, they're selling these in places like Walmart, Target. They're also apparently selling these at Dollar General, and we'll get to that in just a bit. But before I got myself dirty going out to stores and getting myself ready for brawling, I went to the first place I typically check when I see stuff like this, a barometer to how bad the scalping has gotten just moments after a release. That's right, eBay. And sure enough, wouldn't you know, eBay is already full of listings for the bags of the Hershey Kisses. And in fact, these aren't just asking prices. People have already started openly paying up about twice the manufacturer's retail price for these Hershey Kiss bags, which I believe are about $6 a piece. Folks are already happy to shell out $10, $12, $15 a piece for these things. And yep, I'm not surprised. eBayers have already started ripping those bags open and selling the individual Charizard Hershey Kisses, presumably at a big premium. So there you go. We are maybe a couple days out from the official release of the Pokemon Hershey Kisses. And again, it's already become an investment vehicle. And, you know, I guess I kind of would have sort of understood this phenomenon if it was in fact true that you actually could not get your hands on this delectable collectible product any other way than paying a scalper. But it turns out, after just taking a few minutes of research, I realized that these people buying this stuff on eBay are insane. If you look at the original press release, it links to the Shop Hershey store or Buy Hershey or whatever their store name is. It's a website that is operated by Hershey. And as of the time of this recording, well after we've seen all the examples of people paying up on eBay, you can still order these products to be shipped to you at MSRP. There doesn't seem to be any upper limit on how many either. So now, I'll give you a foreshadowing. In a follow-up video, we will be taking a look at the Pokemon product, assuming Hershey doesn't cancel my order and it arrives in some condition other than a box full of melted plastic and bugs. But again, that's just a teaser for the next video. It just sort of amazed me that people were so brought in, were so emotionally compromised by Pokemon hysteria upon the announcement of some new thing that maybe they can make some money on, that people just did the most irrational things immediately, like going and paying a scalper before even trying. Forget about leaving their house, trying to get the product at a reasonable price. Now, as a content creator, I was like, I really kind of want this yesterday so that I can talk about the product and show it off on a video and do some other things, again, I've got plans for. So I was thinking, I've got to figure out, is there any way I can get this at retail today for the purposes of show and tell on today's video? So I decided, okay, I'll do a little searching with about 50 miles of my studio here and see what types of stores may be carrying this product. And after some searching, I did find 3 different stores that purported, according to the internet, to have some product in hand, specifically the Hershey's chocolate bars with the Pokemon on them. So off I went. And I had a very interesting experience because in each of the 3 stores, there was a specific pattern. In each of the 3 stores, I went in to the store and looked around and was not able to locate the Hershey Pokémon bars. In each of the stores, I went to find an employee that worked there and inquired and was told various permutations of, I've never seen this, I'm not really sure what this is. One employee was nice enough to use some sort of technology that said, it's really quizzical. We seem to see that the system says there's some here, but I can assure you we don't have any. And you know what? Okay, this wasn't the hill I was going to die on. So I wished everyone a good day, thanked them for their time, and came back home. I was ready at that point to come and turn the camera on and cut an angry, vicious, negative promo on a YouTube video about how corrupt the retail industry was and how it was so unfair that either by means of customers coming in and thieving these things or some sort of inside job, some sort of elaborate retail level Ocean's 11 scheme, these bars were absconded with, leaving me with no ability to purchase them, to pad my own 401k, or to resell them as the dirty little scalper that I was in fact becoming. And that's an important point because I realized at the moment, something seems a little off about my state of mind. So anyway, I went back and I looked online, and sure enough, there are subreddits all about Pokemon collecting. And all it took me was a few minutes to pursue online, reading more about the subject. And I realized something. I wasn't the only one looking for, obviously, the Pokemon Hershey products. But I did notice that everyone that was looking and were unsuccessful at the retail level were universally negative and angry and really, really upset that for whatever reasons they believed were why they couldn't get the bars, whatever conspiracy theories they came up with, whether they're true or not, there was an angry, vicious mob. And at that point, it clicked with me. I realized something. You know what? Who cares if some people walked off with some Hershey Pokémon chocolate bars at a store, or maybe they hid some, in the back room or something? Because at the end of the day, the folks that work at these retail stores are chronically underappreciated, underpaid, under-resourced, and under great pressure to do more than anyone ought to do for the amount of money that they're being compensated. And I'm not justifying any kind of, untoward behavior, any rapscallionship, but I also realize that it's a point of extreme obnoxious privilege for me to sit here as an upper middle class guy that doesn't need to worry about how to pay for his next meal or next mortgage payment, who sits here and makes YouTube videos all day long, to be angry and upset and to try and monetize and exploit this situation where people are, really literally doing Hunger Games activities over milk chocolate. I was becoming part of the problem I called out in the first part of this video. I became part of the Pokemon hysteria, and I didn't even realize it until I had to step back and think about why I was feeling particularly salty, more salty than I usually am on a daily basis. And it just became so clear in that moment that, you know what? I would mind getting my hands on some of these Pokemon Hershey bars to see what all the hubbub is about. And yes, if we do get some, I'm going to make a follow-up video and we'll have some fun with the Pokemon Hershey Kisses, and that'll be entertaining to watch. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be emotionally compromised on whether or not I can get my hands on a bunch of this milk chocolate or not. That's not who I want to be as a content creator. I do want to carry the story. I do want to hear what you have to think about this. And I'd love to hear in the comments below, where do you stand on Pokemon Hershey products? Am I wrong? Are they an investment vehicle? Are they delicious? Do you plan on collecting all the Hershey Kisses? I would like to have that conversation. But what I don't want to do is let it devolve into this base, negative pool of hatred. It's time to kind of look at things a little bit more lightheartedly. And hopefully that's what I can do here on It's All Dug in Games. Folks, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time on It's All Dug in Games. Sit, Duck Dragon, sit. Good Duck Dragon.